Chapter 13. The Wrath Less Taken. A cold chill falls upon everyone with the ability to sense energy. Flex and Candy Stripe pause their battle, both frightened by what they sense. The broken glass on the floor begins to clatter, vibrating in sync. A wave of steam rushes in through the front doors, causing everyone to flinch. A group of Cicadi, led by a white coat with many visible modifications, run down the stairs and train their rifles on the entrance. A demonic howl echoes, followed by a deep roar and a surge of black energy. Red flames dance behind the black energy as Jake steps into the lobby. "Bring him down!" the white coat screams. The Cicadi begin to rain hell down upon Jake, causing both Flex and Candy Stripe to retreat to separate corners of the lobby. Jake's aura shields him from the bullets, and he walks towards the assassins undeterred. The team kicks a desk, sending it barreling through the Cicadi line. The white coat extends a tentacled arm across the room and pulls the fire alarm. The sprinklers activate, transforming Jake's outer flames into more steam. Soon the steam becomes too thick for anyone to see a thing. Screams erupt from the chaos, the unseen predator on the move. The white coat and three Cicadi manage to back their way to the stairs before the steam slowly clears, revealing all of their comrades slain. Jake looks over at the survivors, his aura flaring back out once more. The white coat retreats just as Jake springs forward. The Cicadi open fire, but Jake is already between them. Blood explodes from numerous slashes, and two of the assassins collapse to the floor. The third assassin draws a knife and stabs forward, piercing Jake's palm as he blocks with an open hand. The Cicadi trembles, eyes widening in terror. Switch paces back and forth in the doctor's office. Did all of these groups coordinate? How could the hospital and the clinic both get taken down? We aren't defeated yet, the doctor growls. Enough with your pessimism. Mr. E laughs. Looks like no matter what happens to me, you bastards are going to get what you deserve. The doctor grows irritated, picking up a communicator. What the hell is going on down there? Bulldog, report. Nothing. No, report. Nothing. Candy Stripe, report. Still nothing. Any personnel still active, report. Multiple intruders. The voice of a shaken operative whispers. The Virtual and his allies are attacking with a team of government agents. The doctor rubs his temples in frustration. It is the hospital all over again. What of the biosuit? Can it be salvaged? We don't have the forces remaining to be able to apprehend the Virtual. The Sakari boy Yamura has torn through our operatives. Yamura has taken out all of our remaining security forces. Another white coat shouts into his communicator in panic. The screams of a third Cicadi are heard in the distance. He defeated Peril, Storm, and even the Virtual. All of Maligan's team. They have also fallen. He just can't be stopped. Jake suddenly grabs the white coat by the face and tackles him through a wall. The white coat rolls Jake off of him, kicks out with a hard boot to the chest. Jake stumbles and the white coat attempts to strangle him with his tentacle arm. Jake slashes at the arm, blood spraying out from multiple wounds, until the white coat is forced to release his grip. Several more Cicadi run into the hall and Jake pauses, his energy flickering and wavering. In his mind, he sees Craig's face over top of each of the men. Jake screams enraged and releases a pulse of energy into one of the Cicadi's chest. The guard screams in agony as his body fades into a shadow amidst the energy. The energy clears and Jake materializes behind another Cicadi. Jake quickly shoves a hand through the assassin's chest and out his back, grabbing a third Cicadi by the throat and pulling his head through the hole in the other man. Jake pivots, kicking another assassin in the face. The man's head spins around 360 degrees and he falls to the floor, his face and back hitting simultaneously. An assassin raises his gun to fire at Jake, but the teen snatches the barrel and melts the weapon with his aura, before striking the man with a fist to the nose. The man's head is slammed against the wall hard, leaving a blood splatter. The doctor looks over at Switch. You have a new task. Take control of Yamura's body. But sir, what if tricking the virtual and his friends with this body? Yamura is a far greater threat than any of them. He cannot be allowed to reach this office. Jake steps over the bodies of several guards, approaching a wounded whitecoat. The enhanced man limps towards the staff elevator, blood trailing behind his now lame leg. What the hell are you? The whitecoat screams, waiting for the elevator to open. More personnel run into the hallway from an intersection, immediately opening fire on Jake. The teen's black aura burns through each bullet before any can reach their target. A Sakati guard rushes Jake with a flurry of fast punches. The teen tilts his head side to side in evasion before delivering a straight jab to the chest that sends the man flying down the hall and against a wall, indenting it. Another Sakati attacks with a sidekick that Jake sidesteps and brings both arms down over his knee. The man screams in agony as his leg bends downward in a U before Jake silences him with a strike to the throat. Any personnel still active, do not allow Yamura to progress any further. Stop whatever you're doing and focus on Yamura. He must be stopped at all costs, the doctor shouts over the staff radio. Alyssa looks at a radio lying on the floor beside a beheaded whitecoat. It seems someone is more important than us today. That would make our job that much easier, Bernat says. Come on. The wounded whitecoat limps into the elevator, holding his wounded leg with one hand. The man's chest heaves, and his face is white with panic. He watches the numbers nervously as he ascends to the doctor's floor. In his mind, the man replays all of the screams and horrible deaths of the other hospital staff. Once the elevator doors open up, the whitecoat emerges to be angrily greeted by both Candy Stripe and Switch. What are you doing coming back here? Candy Stripe asks. All personnel are supposed to be engaged in stopping Yamura. He slaughtered everyone, the whitecoat whispers, still shaking. I had to come back here and make sure he hadn't already reached the doctor. Candy Stripe balls her fists in anger. You are so full of shit. You were scared and you ran away. How could he have gotten ahead of you if you were running away from him? The dark presence nears, gaining all of their attention. Damn it, Candy Stripe whispers. He's coming for real this time. Protect the doctor. I'll hold him off as long as I'm able. The whitecoat moves to follow Switch, but Candy Stripe shouts at him. Not you. You're going to stay here and help me and do your job like you should have been doing in the first place. Two Sakati stand in the hallway, guarding the stairwell. Nervously, they try to keep their hands steady. Third floor. Do you have a visual? One of the Sakati asks into his radio. Smoke. Difficult to see. Haven't. Wait. Open fire! The assassins hear several different reports of gunfire on the floor beneath them. Jake dashes up the stairs and speeds past the two guards before they can even react. Blood sprays from both men's abdomens and they collapse to the floor as Jake continues running. Several more Sakati try to stop the teen at the next intersection, but he cuts through the belly of one guard before driving his claws up through the soft underside of the man's chin. Jake pivots and retracts his claws before kicking the other Sakati in the chest. As the man falls back, Jake lunges with a series of downward punches. The assassin hits the floor with a scream, blood exploding from his mouth. Continuing to work through the clinic, Jake nears the final floor of the building, but discovers there's no stairwell leading up. Jake walks down the hall, his energy thrashing about wildly. Candy Stripe walks forward and slides the chain from her hand, begins swinging it in a circle like she's preparing for a rodeo. Jake ignores the assassin, still walking forward without slowing. A chain wraps around Jake's neck and Candy Stripe pulls hard, jerking the teen's head against the nearest wall. Candy Stripe wraps the chain around her wrist and steps down on the slack, tightening it greatly and causing Jake to choke and gasp for air. "I've waited for this payback," Candy Stripe growls, slowly wrapping the chain around her wrist a second time to tighten it further. Jake reaches back, grabbing Candy Stripe's wrists and slamming her into the floor in front of him. As the young woman's face bounces off the tile, Jake untangles himself from the chain and whips it to the side, wrapping it around the neck of the white coat. With a quick jerk, Jake snaps the man forward and flings his body into the still reeling Candy Stripe. As Candy Stripe is sent rolling across the floor, Jake darts forward and grabs her by the back of the head and shoves her face through the nearest door. The female assassin goes limp, and the teen turns to face the remaining obstacle between him and the doctor. The white coat shakes off his fear and begins to repeatedly punch his wounded leg, and screams in pain and anger. The flesh of a Fomorian giant causes the man's muscles to swell, and the bulk of his increased mass depresses the floor several inches. The white coat growls in fury, boar-like tusks extending from his jaws. He charges Jake, each step shaking the building like an earthquake. Punching the teen, the white coat is shocked that Jake is able to evade the attack with ease. The force of the dodged punch destroys the wall behind Jake. "You won't get past me!" The white coat screams, his pride wounded. Saliva flies from his oversized lips. Jake steps in close, striking the white coat 3 times in the gut. Howling, the man tries to grab Jake, but the teen ducks beneath his hand and drives the knee deep into the warrior's exposed ribcage. The white coat coughs, blood drooling from his mouth. Each breath is now excruciatingly painful. Angered beyond all reason, the white coat activates his GX parasite and reveals he has both creature enhancements and the otherworldly parasite, transforming to become even larger and more grotesque. The white coat's body swells to block the entire hall and busts through the walls and ceiling. The white coat swipes a car-sized fist at Jake, but the teen backflips several times to dodge. Upon landing, Jake manifests a fiery black sword and drives it straight into the man's oversized knuckles. Screaming in pain as the supernatural flames bite at his hand, the white coat flails wildly and brings down the walls and ceiling around them. Jake springs forward, slashing horizontally across the white coat's waist. The giant's torso disappears as his 2 halves slide away from each other in a gruesome mess. Dispersing his sword, Jake leaves to continue his path towards the doctor. Unknown to Jake, someone else has already beaten him to that goal. The doctor paces his office, unable to reach anyone else on the radio. "My security is apparently so pathetic that not a single soul has survived." "Don't be so hard on them," a female voice says, standing in the doorway. "They put up a good fight." "So, the creation has come to kill the creator," the doctor says with a smile. "Sort of poetic, I suppose." "Creator? I should be dead. You robbed me of my humanity. You made me a slave and took away my memories of who I really was. You used me like a tool. You even had me kill people," Flex screams. "Until Storm and the Virtual had to go and ruin everything. You should be grateful to me for saving your life. Khan wanted you dead. I went against his wishes. It was my people, not his, that dragged you out of that burning vehicle and salvaged what little life remained in your burned and destroyed body. I gave you a second chance, and with the power to defend yourself from people like Khan, I made you better. This doesn't have to be this way. We can still be allies. Work for me of your own free will, and I shall grant you anything your heart desires. You aren't a genie, Flex growls. You can't grant wishes. You're just a scared little man whose last hiding spot has been found, and now you're cornered and desperate. I awaken the potential within people. You still have such amazing potential that you would never be able to tap into on your own. You need me to unlock that power and make you the best version of you that you can be. You can't keep playing God. You have to be stopped. The doctor's hand begins to glow. Am I not a god? I have the power over life and death. Flex leaps at the doctor, but he steps into her attack and slashes the young woman across the gut with just his hand. Flex drops to her knees, blood gushing from her midsection. I believe you misunderstood the dynamic here. I am not some scared and helpless man that hides behind his creations. I hold within me limitless power. I can make any wound heal with but a touch, or I can make even a paper cut fatal. Flex holds her hands to the wound and slowly stands up in defiance. Obstinate girl. The doctor's image flickers all around Flex, moving with supernatural speed. Each place he touches causes blood to spray outward. The pain that you feel is not necessary. All of this could have been avoided, the doctor says. What pain? Flex coughs, barely able to remain conscious. The doctor shakes his head, smiling at the girl's stubbornness. I will tweak your pain synapses to become 1,000 times more sensitive. Your brain will be unable to comprehend so much agony. Flex screams in anguish as every cell of her body is lit up with white-hot pain. The doctor pauses several times to allow the girl to catch her breath before resuming his torture. I can't have you passing out or dying just yet. You need to experience the full power of my abilities. I need you to feel the despair of knowing you never had a chance of standing up to me, the doctor says. Jake turns another corner to see Switch standing between him and the elevator. This is as far as you go, Switch says. Jake is confused as a faint memory of the man ahead of him flashes through his mind. When he was captured by Conco, Tyrell was one of the researchers present during the experimentation. Kicking Jake's shin, Switch pivots and hip tosses the teen over his side. Jake breaks his fall with one hand and snaps a kick out, catching the GX warrior in the chest. Switch stumbles back, barely able to regain his breath. As he staggers, Switch draws his handgun and fires several times. Jake screams, flaring out his energy to dissolve the deadly projectiles. Holstering his gun in frustration, Switch draws a combat knife and lunges. The teen twists to the side in evasion, lessening the cut while simultaneously bringing an arm up to block. A line of crimson appears on Jake's left cheek, prompting him to hiss in response as he leaps back to create the distance between himself and the more experienced fighter. The cut on Jake's face disappears with a brief flicker of black energy. No one said anything about him having regeneration powers, Switch complains to himself. Switch throws his knife and rolls, firing a rapid succession of shots as he comes back up to his feet. Jake slaps the knife aside, but is taken by surprise with the gunshots. 3 bullets punch into Jake's chest. Blood oozes from the wounds and Jake coughs, staggering back as liquid fills his lungs and throat. Switch waits, gun still trained on the teen. Should Jake begin to heal again, he'll begin the process of transference as soon as the wounds are no longer lethal. Jake's energy flickers wildly and liquid metal begins to rise up from his injuries and drip into the floor. Unbelievable, Switch whispers. That's some power you have there. Don't worry. I'll make sure I put it to good use. He activates his GX parasite and prepares to transfer into Jake's body. Jake wraps the black energy around his hand and thrusts a manifested blade through the GX warrior's chest. Switch coughs up blood, trying to speak the words to transfer bodies, but is unable to form the words. He staggers back, leaning against the wall and slowly trying to get away from the crazed teen. A streak of blood is left stretched out along the wall everywhere Switch moves. He cannot bring in enough oxygen, and he fights his own fears to prevent panic and shock. Switch pushes open the nearest door and falls into the room, crawling to the cabinets and searching desperately for something to stop the bleeding. Jake ignores the man walking past to the elevator. Only one floor is between him and the doctor. Damn him, Switch whispers, turning pale. He knocks over several glass jars, finally wrapping his fingers around a roll of gauze. He made a fool of me. A white coat enters the doctor's room, out of breath. Yamura is on his way, sir. All of our defenses have fallen. The doctor tosses Flex aside. How annoying. I thought at least one of you would have been capable of handling him. What should we do, sir? The white coat asks. Flex leaps at the doctor from behind, hoping to catch him off guard. The doctor turns without a second of hesitation or surprise. Let him come. I'll deal with him myself. The doctor's hand sinks into Flex's chest. She's unable to scream. The doctor pulls his hand free and steps back. Flex falls to her back, blood swelling out all around her. Jake arrives in the room just as Flex collapses. Well, well, we meet again. Welcome, Yamura, the doctor says. You've mistaken me for someone else, tainted blood mongrel. Jake growls, hatred burning in his eyes. Huh? Your senses are that attuned? Impressive. Though someone as experienced as you should have assumed already that one such as me would save only the best enhancements for myself. The doctor's image flickers, flashing all around Jake, several wounds opening up across Jake's body and spraying blood outward. Jake throws a punch, but the doctor catches his fist. Jake screams in pain, feeling the bones in his hand breaking. Jake headbutts the doctor and leaps back, holding his injured hand. I did warn you, the doctor says. You are in far over your head, kid. Mr. E uses the distraction to run over to Flex's side. Blood pools around her body, and he has trouble finding a pulse. He pulls off the girl's mask, her eyes staring lifelessly up at the ceiling. Damn it, Mr. E whispers. Hang in there. Don't give up. You have to keep fighting. She's dead, old man, the white coat taunts. Just like you're about to be. Mr. E grabs a jar from one of the tables and hurls it at the white coat. The white coat slashes the claw through the jar, spilling the liquid contents out on the floor. You're too slow to hit me with anything, the white coat laughs. Smoke begins to rise from the floor. He looks down to see the liquid burning a hole through the floor. Chlorine trifluoride, Mr. E says. It pays to be a science teacher. The white coat screams in pain, holding his hand as it too begins to melt away. Mr. E picks up a piece of glass from the floor and tackles the man, driving the shard deep into the white coat's neck. What did you hope to accomplish coming here? The doctor asks. Are you still mad about the chip I put in your head? I want to hunt down Hui, but to do that, I have to remove all the other strong Sakari energies that I sense that act to mask him from me. So, I'm not even your intended foe? I'm offended. The doctor smiles devilishly. If I'd had more time, I would have sent someone to retrieve the body of your girlfriend. Reviving her as a monster would be a marvelous torture against you for all the inconvenience you have caused me." "Bastard!" Jake screams, leaping at the doctor. The doctor catches Jake by the throat. Prepare to feel more pain than a human should ever be able to feel in a lifetime, all in one moment. Jake screams as his body is lit up by a strange glow. The doctor tosses the teen aside. Jake tries to stand but cannot move. "Oh, I've paralyzed you. The only things that you can currently feel are pain and fear." He notices that Jake begins to tremble, slightly moving his arms. "You've grown so much stronger since we last met, but the power you have is still raw and uncontrolled. You do not comprehend how to properly wield that power." Jake condenses his energy into a small, jagged black sword, and he slowly pushes himself to his feet. "You won't be able to talk your way out of this. I came here to kill you." "Killing me is a pointless endeavor. I have done nothing to you. It was not I who killed your parents, or any of the people of your hometown, or even Clavemont. Should you not be more interested in Khan or in Yana than me? I can even help you track them down, along with Hui. The three of them have really hindered business for me as late. I would be better off with all of them removed, honestly." "I slit Khan's throat," Jake says, pausing before recalling a painful memory. "And then Yana died in our last confrontation. All I have to remove are you and Hui." "You're only partially correct in your assessments by semantics. What if I were to tell you that both of those individuals are alive and well?" Jake fights the paralysis, taking another step closer. "I'd call you a liar, and then I'd still kill you." The doctor laughs. "Of all the monsters I've made for Khan, and others around the world, do you really believe that I would not have kept loyal eyes on all of them? I would be a foolish businessman to give such power to someone like Khan completely unchecked. I can tell you with absolute certainty that he did indeed survive your confrontation." Jake leaps at the doctor, who extends a small scalpel into his hands from each sleeve. With one outward motion across his body, a horizontal slash opens up across Jake's front, and the teen drops to his knees. Blood sprays out from Jake's chest, and his face grows pale. "I have tweaked all of my own senses, and more than quadrupled my speed and reaction time. I could cut each of your organs out of your body before you ever felt the initial sting of my blades," the doctor boasts. Jake's aura ceases, and the black sword in his hands dissolves into the air. "So sad. I'm truly regretful that this battle is already concluded. You have so much potential." "You said," Jake whispers, straining to remain conscious, "you said Yana was also alive." "I have no reason to lie to you, boy," the doctor replies with a nod. "She was resurrected through means that even I do not yet understand, though I have heard it has something to do with the Yazata." "The Yazata?" Jake whispers, thinking of the rogue Yazata he's encountered several times now, Cedrion. He recalls how Cedrion interfered in his battle with Hui and allowed him to escape. "I could unlock the power you need to kill them for real," the doctor muses. "The power to make sure that they stay dead this time." "What would you get out of that?" Jake coughs. "Try to make me your slave like before?" "I merely installed the chip on Khan's request. I did not even design the device. I am more of a biological man, not a technological one." "So, you'll just do anything for a price?" Jake tries to laugh, but only manages to spit up a mouthful of blood. "You're just a whore with a bloodlust and delusions of grandeur." "You mouthy piece of trash," the doctor screams, lunging at Jake with a scalpel. Doctor! Candy Stripe shouts from the doorway. Get a hold of yourself! She's helped into the room by Switch in his new body. The doctor stops himself, taking a deep breath and smoothing the wrinkles from his white suit. You're absolutely right, my dear. I don't know what came over me. He has that effect on people, she growls. Jake glares at the woman. Isn't there a wall somewhere that needs your head shoved through it? Having calmed considerably, Jake is now able to faintly detect the presence of Yamura within his mind once again. Jake, your heart rate and breathing have slowed. Have you regained your composure? Yamura asks. Somewhat, Jake whispers. My mind is still full of haze, but the blind rage that took over is mostly gone. I barely remember what happened. Did I really lose control that badly? Yamura nods. There was no reaching you at all. Your mind was fixated upon a single purpose, exterminating the Sakari. How did we end up here? Jake asks. I know we're fighting the doctor and his sidekick, but I can't figure out why. The doctor has augmented himself with the DNA of many species of beings to gain their power and abilities. The Sakari are among those he has taken into his blood. You sensed this power and came for battle, hoping to find Hui instead. The doctor becomes impatient, as his intruder has stopped talking or moving at all. Have you fallen asleep on me? That is very rude of you. Jake blinks several times, returning his consciousness to the outside. Not asleep, just bored. For someone with the means to gain the abilities of monsters, you really don't seem all that tough. Not that tough? The doctor's insulted. I can disconnect your nerves or stop your heart with but a touch. Don't let him get to you, Candy Stripe warns. He's playing mind games. I am a level of genius beyond any mortal man, the doctor growls. Do you honestly think I can be outwitted by a high schooler? Jake shrugs. I've only been to school a handful of times all semester, if that makes you feel any better. Long claws extend from the doctor's fingertips. Yakaruna DNA. He grins with elongated fangs. Green venom begins to drop from his jaws, combined with the venomous secretions of the predatory Alpha Monitor lizard of Iran. One bite or scratch, and you will be paralyzed for hours, as the flesh around the wound becomes necrotic. Jake materializes behind the doctor, and as the man turns, he receives the fist to the face, so hard that all of his new fangs are shattered. Damn you! The doctor coughs, spitting up blood, venom, and teeth to the floor. You're very quick. You got any mythical hedgehog DNA to combat that? Jake grins. Maybe the blood of a speedy Mexican rat? The Kamatachi, actually, the doctor says with a bloody smile as he manages to outspeed Jake and get behind him. Jake pivots with a kick, but the doctor blocks with a hardened forearm of silver scales, the impenetrable armor of the Zmu, a draconic humanoid straight from East African nightmares. Jake leaps back to collect his thoughts. Dude is like a vegetable stew of superhuman abilities. He is just a man playing with powers he was never meant to comprehend. You were a better challenge when you were out of your mind with rage, the doctor says. At this rate, I will be unable to show you all of my enhancements. He turns away from Jake and begins looking through several head-level cabinets. Ah, here, this will do nicely. What is that? Jake asks, eyeing the doctor suspiciously as the man removes a small vial of frothy liquid from one of the cabinets. Extract of the Amanita muscaria combined with the saliva of the Sumatran sagao, a vicious ape tiger known to induce a near-hypnotic state in its prey. The Viking berserkers were known to eat the caps of the psychedelic Amanita muscaria fungus to gain a strength-boosting, anger-driven euphoria. And Jake growls, ready to move quickly the second the doctor reacts. Candy Stripe shifts, drawing a long, thin blade from behind her back. Jake's attention diverts for a fraction of a second. That is more than enough time for the doctor to elongate one of his arms into a tentacle that ends in a needle-like tip. Jake shouts in pain and surprise as the tip pierces his shoulder. This drug should revert you back to a state close to what you were in when you first arrived, the doctor says triumphantly. You madman! Jake screams, beginning to sweat profusely. The teen claws at his chest and his heart rate begins to climb. You don't know what you've done! Huh? No, I'm well aware of what I'm doing. You were more fun to fight when there was a minuscule possibility that I might be defeated. In your anger-driven state, you are unpredictable. I never get that kind of opportunity to push myself or my abilities. How am I to ever improve upon my techniques if I'm unable to see what succeeds and what fails? Jake screams and pulls at his hair as black energy erupts all around his body. You're an amazing specimen, the doctor compliments. I don't know how, but you seem to improve throughout each battle. I will learn much from your corpse. Jake's consciousness is forced inward. The teen finds himself at the basin of a great stone dam. Ankle-deep water lies around Jake, and he looks up to see dozens of small holes trickling water downward in constant streams. Walling up your emotions has led to this, a voice tells Jake. The teen spins, finding no one around. Claire's death was but a catalyst, a symptom of a greater disease long eating away at your mind. Your father, your mother, leaving everyone you love behind. Did you honestly think that you could ignore those feelings? Who are you? Jake growls. Where's Yamura? I am you. Jake's shadow rises from the water, eyes glowing red. I've always been you. The true you. The boy playing it hero, putting on a tough act. That's been nothing more than a stage play. You're just faking your way through life, but deep down you. I know the truth. You're only creating a problem much worse. Had you been dealing with your emotions the way you're supposed to, you'd not be in this kind of danger. Danger? Jake whispers. What do you think happens when that dam breaks? You won't be able to calm yourself over time as before. The flood that's coming will drown you completely. You sound like you're looking forward to that. I am. I spent our entire life having to listen to your lies and repression. Had I been in control, things would not have turned out this way. How have I never spoke with you before? How has Yamura never spoke with you, seen you? What makes you think he hasn't? I've interacted with Yamura far more than you. How do you think we've been able to find commonality with the monster? It's because you are a monster as well. Your true self. What you fight so hard to repress. That's where our power comes from. I'm the emotions you shut away like some self-flagellating holy man. Each bad thought you have, each impulse to act upon your true nature and hide away. The more you separate us, the more I grow, and you shrink away. Now as we stand before the coming deluge, you will be completely swept away and I will gain full control. No more lies, no more hiding, only truth. Only me. The doctor's serum begins to eat away at the dam at a much faster rate than any negative emotions can naturally. The water begins to rise. What's happening? The Nameless grins. His form begins to look more like Jake as Jake's own avatar slips further into shadow. The doctor is arrogantly speeding along, a natural evolution. cannot comprehend. What may have taken days or weeks to occur fully will now happen in only a few more seconds. The dam, Jake whispers. It's about to burst. The Nameless nods. All of your emotions will flood over your mind. Years of repression will drown your conscience and sense of self. Only I will remain because you gave me form. You gave me dominion over your emotions. The dam breaks. The flooding is devastating. All of Jake's mind is swept away. Outside, Jake howls with fury. Black energy erupts around his body and flickers like a living fire. Sparkles of red electricity crackle all about erratically. Jake's chest heaves with a heavy strain and his posture becomes more bestial. He glares at the doctor like a wild animal. Steam escapes from the teenager's mouth. There, the doctor smiles. Much better. Unable to hold back, this will be the ultimate test of my abilities, he says with elation. With the last of his humanity removed, nothing remains to stop Jake from killing indiscriminately. While his emotions were out of control before, a small part of Jake was still able to direct most of his aggression towards those individuals in which he sensed Sakari energy. Jake growls feral, saliva dripping from his jaws. This is the magnificent killer I've been waiting so long for, the doctor says. A legendary monster combined with the emotional instability of a human adolescent. You alone were able to overcome Khan's parasite-enhanced warriors, as well as the Sakatian mercenaries I contracted out to Hui's acolytes. Jake does not respond. Because of you, I was able to learn the strengths and flaws of warriors enhanced by various methods. GX, demon blood, Sakari blood, demonic grafting, and even the existence of undead creatures that have the potential to surpass all other forms of strength. Candy Stripe begins cleaning her face of the various patches of dried blood, all across it with a dampened washcloth. We should just kill him now while we can. You can dissect what's left of him later. Can you not imagine the power that someone like him could amass as one of those revenant creatures? If I could control his growth, a single fighter of his caliber would be greater than that of an entire army. Countries would start wars just to get a taste of the power I would wield. He's too dangerous, Candy Stripe cautions. Have you forgotten what he did to Khan when he tried to control him? Khan was a fool that could not see past the GX parasite. I am open to all methods of enhancement. Candy Stripe fears the destruction that Jake caused, should the doctor lose control of him. Respectfully, I think this is a very bad idea. I have a better idea, Switch says. I swap with Teen Angst here, gain his phenomenal power, then we kill his useless husk. The doctor contemplates this for a moment. I would prefer being able to experiment on him while he is in this unique form. We do not even know for sure that your abilities would work on him. Peril's psychic powers were ineffective. I'm not that smart-mouthed brat, Switch growls. I have a significant more amount of experience than Peril. Jake begins to flex the muscles in his arms and legs, despite the doctor having shut down all of the receptor nerves connecting them to his brain. He's coming around, Candy Stripe says nervously. Whatever you decide on, we need to do it now. The doctor sighs loudly. Fine. Attempt to swap bodies. I suppose that will be interesting in its own way. Switch aggravates the parasite in his blood, causing it to mutate. In his fully transformed state, he can become able to readily perform his mind transfer ability. Be aware, you will likely lose your GX parasite in this process, the doctor cautions. Switch pauses, sensing his parasite locking up. What do you mean? My parasite's always transferred over with me before. Yamura is a special case, I'm afraid. Every parasite Khan attempted to infiltrate his body was destroyed. Due to their unique duality, they are able to reject the parasite without becoming rejects. Switch reverts back to his base form, his parasite going dormant in protest. My parasite refuses to activate my ability. It seems the creature's desire for self-preservation is more powerful than my control over it. Candy Stripe slides a thin, handleless blade into her palm. The assassin's tool is designed for stealth attacks and sneaking up on a victim. The blade is meant to be pressed into the back of an opponent's head before they're ever able to know they're even in danger. And there's only one thing left to do. The doctor puts a hand between himself and Candy Stripe. I am not finished with the boy. I still have much to learn from him. Sir, this is not a game. He's extremely dangerous. Growling like an animal, Jake leaps at the doctor with a flurry of lightning-fast slashes. Sparks fly from the doctor's protective smooth scales, blocking the severe damage he could receive. My, the doctor grins, backing away several steps as Jake continues to attack. Such ferocity. This is the challenge I needed. The doctor extends a tentacle arm, but Jake slices the appendage in two. Reeling back in pain, the doctor begins healing his wound by stopping the bleeding almost immediately, before moving new cells to the site of the injury. Jake does not let up, rushing the doctor with deadly slashes from his claws. The doctor evades and blocks each strike, trying to push himself in order to test his enhanced abilities. Candy Stripe looks on with concern, disapproving of the risks the doctor's taking just to challenge himself and polish his skills. The doctor laughs with enjoyment as he defends himself against the teenager's furious strikes. He attempts to hit Jake with a powerful left hook, but his speed is lowered while utilizing the strength of a Fomorian giant. Jake ducks beneath the punch and comes up with his claws, trying to drive them into the doctor's ribs. Several smooth scales chip on contact, but Jake's claws are unable to pierce the man's skin. The doctor hops backward, looking down at his damaged armor. That is impressive. I honestly did not think you were capable of doing anything against smooth scales. You're a lot stronger than I estimated. Jake launches forward, the ground splitting beneath his feet. The doctor barely evades, even with his inhuman speed enhancements. Jake's fist crashes against the wall, shaking the entire building. The teen's wrist is broken, yet he does not even flinch. The doctor turns, kicking Jake in the leg. The bones snap on impact, due to the doctor's enhanced strength. Jake feels nothing. Incredible, the doctor whispers. He truly has let go of everything. This boy has no limitations, no conscience, no emotions. Not even pain can hold him back. He desires only to kill. Jake howls again, rushing the doctor. The doctor backsteps, forced to defend as the teen's speed increases. Each strike that's blocked sends vibrations of pain throughout the doctor's body. Now I am the one who's become limited by pain. Today has been truly enlightening. If I can tweak my serum to remove pain, but keep my mind fully intact, there is no one that could exceed my abilities, the doctor thinks. The doctor slaps one of Jake's punches aside and retaliates with an open palm to the chin. Jake's jaw shifts out of alignment, but the teen does not react. A fist crashes against the doctor's sternum, sending him across the room. The doctor coughs up blood, his eyes watering. Doctor! Candy Stripe shouts, stepping forward to intervene. The doctor holds up a hand to stop her. He straightens his posture and wipes the blood from his lips. Without limitations, you are a pure force of destruction. If only I'd been able to harness this ferocity when we had you under my control. I should have known better than to trust technology, when biology is where true power lies. Jake says nothing, circling the doctor like a predatory animal. The only downside of this form seems to be your lack of personality. I rather enjoyed your wisecracks and misplaced confidence. Perhaps I'll be able to restore that cockiness after I transform you into a revenant. Jake's black energy flares, indicating a further increase in power. The teen holds a hand out, coalescing the energy into a fiery black sword. Making an energy weapon? I didn't think you had that much reason left. I wonder if this is just an instinctual behavior. The doctor ponders. Jake leaps forward with a head-level slash, but the doctor ducks beneath the attack and delivers a two-fisted strike to the chest. Jake flips backwards and skids several feet before thrusting forward with another series of sword slashes. The doctor backpedals while defending, each attack chipping away more of his defensive armor. Jake swings his fiery sword from a distance, sending a wave of black fire towards the doctor. The doctor stumbles back, but the fire energy has little effect. Smooth scales not only protect me from weapons, I am also immune to flames, the doctor brags. The Zmu thrive in the volcanic caverns and thermal vents of the East African Rift Valley. Jake dismisses his sword back into his aura. Interesting, the doctor whispers. Does this mean that you possess enough reason to understand what I'm saying? Can you make decisions, or is it purely an instinctual action? Have you learned enough to finish this? Candy Stripe asks. The longer you keep him alive, the higher chance he has to kill us. Do you have so little faith in my abilities? The doctor asks. There is zero chance this boy defeats me. My enhancements are far superior to him in every way. The boy cannot damage me, let alone kill me. He may not be able to now, but he has a habit of gaining power ridiculously fast. I am not ready to end my experiment just yet. I haven't figured out how to keep the boy's soul from passing on after I kill him. We can speak with some consultants. I'm sure some of our resources know more about the afterlife and revenants. That doesn't help me right now. I want to turn this boy into a revenant. I only get one shot at this, and I cannot wait for consultants. But it's too risky to keep him alive. The doctor glares at her, causing Candy Stripe to shirk away. Do not presume to give me orders. Our roles are clearly defined. Need I remind you what your place is? No, sir, Candy Stripe whispers. Why don't you round up whatever staff you can find and return to the underground? If any of those revenants remain, I think I will learn more from them fighting the boy than myself. I haven't heard any staff report in since the kid breached this floor. I'm not sure that anyone is left alive in this building beyond us. The doctor stops to think for a moment. Organize a recruitment drive to try and replenish our staffing. We can't do much expansion without any human resources. Jake lunges with a claw slash, but the doctor slaps his arm aside and strikes him back with a punch to the chest. That was rude, the doctor scolds. I was in the middle of a conversation. Jake growls loudly, his voice echoing like the roar of a dragon. The walls shake and all the glass in the cabinet shatter due to the sound. Black energy seeps from Jake's every pore. A massive clawed hand of black energy wraps around Jake's own arm, and a single black wing of energy emerges from the teen's back, on the same side as the claw. If I didn't know better, I would say that the boy is transforming into a dragon, the doctor whispers. He grins, focusing more on the Zmu DNA in his blood. Two can play that game. The doctor's features begin to become more dragon-like. Jake thrusts his energy hand forward, unleashing a huge wave of black fire to consume the doctor. The doctor blocks with his forearms, pushed backwards by the incredible force. The man's back slams into the wall, causing it to burn away. The energy continues, propelling the doctor into the air until he extends two orange dragon wings and disperses Jake's energy with a scream. The doctor's chest heaves and he looks down at his own smoking dragon hands. This is incredible, he shouts with excitement. Fighting you is pushing my body to new heights of power I never thought possible. Jake ignores the doctor's boasts, instead increasing the energy around his body and manifesting more of the black flame dragon from his aura. A fiery black lance materializes in Jake's dragon hand, and he hurls it at the doctor. "No, don't go back to weak attacks like that," the doctor screams. "We've come so far. You must push me to a whole new level of power." He catches the lance and crushes it in his hand into tiny sparkles of light. Jake throws lance after lance, the doctor dispersing each with ease. Even though they are unsuccessful, the team continues his assault. The doctor becomes irritated, but is unable to do anything as Jake's attacks keep him locked in place. With an even louder dragonic roar, the lances come at the doctor with a greater speed and explosive power. The doctor's hands begin to sting and he winces in discomfort. "Enough of this!" the doctor screams as he flares out his own aura so that it can deflect Jake's lances before they can reach anyone. Suddenly, the doctor lets out a surprised oof as one of the lances pierces his energy and impales him through the right wing. The doctor tumbles out of the air, spiraling down towards the pavement. He bounces off the outer wall of the building several times to slow his fall, flapping his one good wing. He hits the ground, the air knocked out of his lungs. He looks up to see Jake speeding down at him, and connecting with a black dragon-infused fist to the face. The ground sinks beneath their impact, and the doctor's jaw shatters. His body crashes through the lobby wall. "Damn you!" the doctor coughs, trying to reset his jaw. Blood drools from the man's offset mouth, and his dragon features have all vanished. Jake enters the lobby, his aura still flickering with the black flame. The doctor stands up, only to be struck in the jaw again by Jake. The man is sent through another wall, where he lies barely conscious amidst the rubble. Candy Stripe runs down the stairs to see Jake manhandling her employer. "Doctor!" Candy Stripe screams in horror. "Get back up!" Meanwhile, upstairs, Mr. E is busy dressing Flex's wounds. Lucky for the young woman, her GX parasite is also hard at work, trying to keep her alive. Storm, Brian, and the PIA agents enter the room in a rush. "Coach E!" Brian shouts with relief. "You're okay!" "Good to see you too, kid," Mr. E smiles. "What happened in here?" Storm asks, looking around at the completely wrecked office and the gaping hole in the wall. "Yamura fought the doctor," Mr. E replies. "I lost sight of them after they took their battle outside." "I'm not sure who I want to win that fight," Brian admits. "Yamura really worked us over downstairs. Peril's still unconscious." "The doc worked with Khan to ruin our lives," Storm says. "I hope Yamura sends that bastard straight to hell." Brian notices that Mr. E and Flex are the only ones alive in the room. "Where's Tyrell? I thought he was captured with you." Mr. E shakes his head in sadness. "He was dead before we ever attacked the hospital." "What? That's impossible, I saw him," Brian argues in disbelief. "The man you saw was not Tyrell. The bastard that swaps bodies took control of him back in the hotel. He tricked us all this time," Mr. E explains. "So, Tyrell is dead?" Brian punches the nearest wall in anger. "Are we ever going to stop losing our friends to these monsters?" "If Yamura is able to kill the doctor, at least there will be one less monster left for us to worry about," Agent Callahan says. He receives a call from PIA headquarters. "Are you sure?" "Okay, I'll gather everyone up." "What is it?" Storm asks. "We just located another Conco facility in Louisiana. This one was off the books and run through several dummy organizations," Callahan says. "Did they think the people of Clavemont could be there?" Brian asks, turning away from the wall at the news. I'm not sure, but they've spotted a lot of Khan's heavy hitters on grounds. He hesitates. Your mother's there too, kid. Brian balls his fists in anger. She was never my mother. Callahan nods. Fair enough. The surviving members of Khan's Special Operation Force are there too. Whatever is going on, it's big. We need to head that way ASAP. What about the doctor? Alyssa asks. We came here to make sure he was dead. I, for one, don't want to get between him and Yamura. I say we hang back and see who comes out on top, Callahan says. Then we leave. The doctor crawls to his feet, leaning one hand on the wall for support. Even with the berserker chemicals active, the boy's fighting instincts are incredible. He has no rational thought left, yet he's still able to surpass me in my transcendent state. The doctor reaches into his pockets, grabs hold of 2 more vials of the berserker chemical. If I can't push him into complete madness, maybe I can at least make him overdose. Jake gets closer to the doctor, who lunges and jams a syringe into each side of the teen's neck. There! The doctor shouts. I got you now, you son of a bitch. My intellect can never be surpassed. Even if someone like you can miraculously generate more power, I believe I have learned all I can from you. And this is where I bid you adieu. If you become a revenant, then perhaps I will have further use of you. If not, goodbye forever, Jake Stewart. Tell Mommy and Daddy and that bitch girlfriend of yours in hell that the doctor sends his regards. Jake screams in agony, clawing at his head as the chemicals painfully interact with his body's nervous and endocrine systems. The doctor begins focusing on healing from his injuries. You really are one of a kind, kid. I never expected you to be able to deal damage to me. You had me worried for a few seconds back there. In the end, however, you still came up short, just like everyone else who has ever challenged me. The air pressure changes, drawing their attention to the hallway. There are sounds of a brief struggle before several cloaked forms step into view. Danny is the first to lower her hood and reveal her identity, followed by Forgeron and the other members of the Black Wings. I found him, Danny says, pointing to Jake. We got here in time,